We're alive.
Live stream offline. Come on. Hello, I am Chris,
And I'm Edison.
and this is Tanks and Thanks. We don't have Kyle here today. He is predisposed somewhere else at the current moment. But yeah, I think we're ready for an intro.
All right. And we're back.
Hello, Edison. How has your week been?
It's been pretty busy. I got a little behind on homework, but now I'm caught up on it. We're looking good for that. Um, Luckily, I can do homework at work, so I've been making it work. Submitted like a final essay that was just half baked, but it was a rough draft anyway, so it was like whatever.
Chat GDP, man. Chat GDP for the win.
Oh, I've started using AI to help me with my like cell biology problems because I can just slap the problem in there and then it'll give me an explanation of the answer so I can actually learn stuff.
Oh, that's good. That's great. It's better than
'Cause,
most people.
yeah, I'm not just looking for the answer. I actually want to learn this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's important. Cell biology is one of the most important subjects. Don't want to say it's foundational for a reason, but it is foundational for a reason. So,
Yeah, it makes sense. Other than that, everything's been chilling.
nice, nice. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here while we're doing our stream. Amazon. Oh, orders. Okay, and then now to go to Friends of Fish. Yes, yes, yes. Inception. Just a little bit.
Just
Okay. So I bought this and it was the last one available, which I am
okay.
so happy for. But it it has basically blown all of my expectations and then some out of the water for I think I bought it for $55.
Oh
Like
wow.
so for those that don't know who wasn't listening last week, my canister filter, the O-ring, finally went out. It's about 4 years old ish. And I mean, at a certain point, you're thinking, should I just replace the O-ring or should I just get a new one? You know, whatever I'm going to do. And so I decided to get a new one. And this one, it has not only quick disconnects for your hosing and all that kind of stuff, but this is something that I did not know you could get on a canister filter for $55. But it comes with a whirl that you can, like a hang on back would normally have, or like a filter through would normally have.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, and it forces me to, I don't want to say it forces me because that sounds horrible, but I have a very big problem of not filling up my tank to its full capacity every day. Obviously, I feel like everybody does. Like every 3 days I'll fill it back up to what it's supposed to be or whatever. um but this, because the whirl will start siphoning and the actual canister filter will start choking, you physically have to refill it back up every single day.
I feel like that would be more annoying than convenient.
It's a bit of both. A bit of both.
Because I'm like, yeah, I'm also slacking at the moment on filling up my tanks.
Yeah, but outside of that, like I said, it has. I don't want to say it's blown out of the water my previous one, but my previous one was the Sun with same GPH, so 307 per hour, but it was it had the UV sterilizer in it, and that one only cost me like $98 or something. But for $55, I am like super impressed with this mini canister filter, and it's tiny too. It's smaller than my previous one, so yay big or something. But like, it worked really well. So besides that, I built my own brine shrimp reactor this week because I'm prepping for that clownfish that I'm going to be inheriting pretty soon, and I want to make sure I have a good availability of brine shrimp for him to eat. And yeah, that's about it. And a lot of people don't know this, but I'm in my office right now, and I have a tank up here. And the reason I'm showing you, Edison, is because Kyle will kill me if I showed him this. He would reach through the screen and murder me.
No plants. Oh, look at that thing.
Yeah.
Love it.
I haven't done a water change on it ever. And it's very apparent because there's a lot of algae, but there's no fish in it. It's invert. It's an invert only tank. So.
Oh, nice.
But
yeah, Kyle would smack you.
Yeah, he would, because there's really long strings, like almost entire forest worth of hair algae in there. So.
Yeah, I'm getting there with this tank right here. You can kind of see one of the hairs there, actually. Bright green, just right over my shoulder there. Yep.
Yep, I can see it.
But I'm an algae enjoyer, so.
I personally, like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with too much algae. I think there is something wrong if you are banking on algae being your, like, the thing that's going to keep your aquarium stable, because that's not how algae works as a plant or even as an organism, right? It's very unstable. So
it literally thrives off of instability.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, outside of that, I guess the other thing is I just finished editing episode 2. So I finished editing it this evening. I said I was going to take 4 hours to do it, and it took me like 9, because it's going to be like 12 minutes long instead of 6 or usual sized.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, I had to learn how to do a little bit of animation for it, because I am doing like little graphs and stuff. And I did. I'm wondering if I'll spoil a little bit of, because we were talking about instability just a second ago. So I feel like it fits just fairly well with this. But no, I don't want to do that. Downloads. Okay, now let's share screen, and hopefully we don't get a... Yep, of course. All right, so here's a little, because I did not include this graph in my video, but I wanted to just kind of like let you see that. I don't want to say the kind of detail, but the kind of work that I had to put into actually getting this data. So these graphs, all of these little lines, these are all 5-second time slices of a pH probe in a beaker of water over that basically had either nothing or something sitting in it for 48 hours. So either a mineral, a rock, whatever. And all of these little time slices, all of these rainbow colors, all those are is just the pH at that time slice. So I had to distill all of this down, 12 pages of data, to determine a couple different things. And I guess I'm not gonna do a big reveal right now, but just with this graph, this is the one that you won't see in the finished product, but In this graph, you can tell how unstable tap water is comparably to the water that has mineralization in it. So,
see, I wonder how my tap water would hold up, just because,
send it,
unless, yeah,
ship it. I got you. Let's do it.
and then I wonder how like, because if you're using like distilled water versus tap water, that's going to completely change things. Because if it's just pure water, then it's like not stable at all.
Yeah, so for my tap water at the university, because I did this in a lab, right?
Oh, okay.
It was overall 7.1 was the pH. So I assume the reason why is because they have a water softener probably inside the building somewhere.
Yeah, we have
Because
a
there's a huge gap, right? So it's not, that doesn't surprise me.
yeah. Because I know my my tap water comes out about like maybe 7.6. But I know that the KHGH is up near like 14, so it's definitely a lot more stable than just distilled water.
Yeah, yeah. And it also it was interesting because I assumed, and this is me making assumptions, and obviously I'm making an ass out of myself because of those assumptions, but I assumed that sulfides dropped pH like drastically. Mostly, and this is the reason why, is because like the Berkeley pit or these national like huge mine spills or outflow or tailings piles, they leach so many sulfides and it drastically makes the pH plummet. I'm talking like 4.2, 4.1. So acidic that they need to have a full-time like 4 rangers on the Berkeley pit to shoot ducks away from like landing in the water or else they'll get boiled alive.
Oh man.
So like, and it's a full-time job. Like there was a year that poor migrating geese came flying over into Montana and went through
Uh-oh.
basically a hurricane, were dead tired, found a beautiful body of water to go sit in, and then all proceeded to die. And there was like 180 of them that were dead in the morning. And I'm like, anyway, so besides the point, I assumed that that sulfides would always buffer pH down, but actually what I found was if it is a non-iron sulfide, a non-copper or iron sulfide, it actually buffers up.
So I'm thinking of a sulfate. Sulfide is just
A sulfate or sulfide, either like iron, right? So iron rusting, that's an iron sulfide. But that would cause the pH to drop. But in my study that I did and what I'm going to publish on Monday, I did a lead, and I guess this is just me being weird choosing this random mineral, but I did a lead silver sulfide because lead and silver are both extremely toxic to aquarium fish, where iron is not nearly as toxic. And so I figured it would make more sense to me, at least, as well as to the viewers, to know like which one is the worst, option. But like it drastically, like I say drastically, but like the pH was almost to 8 with the Galena in its like solution, and everything else buffered up to like 7.9, the exact point where you'd expect it to with carbonates. And so the copper, because I used malachite as well for the final one, and that's a copper carbonate, and it buffered it down slightly. It still went to like the 7.9, but
well, I guess it depends on the oxidation state of the copper
yes,
on
I'm
how it's going
assuming
to
it is.
react with pH.
Yes, I'd assume so. Yes, and as
Because
well as the iron too, if you had
right,
iron. But
because
yeah,
iron with a +2 oxidative state is going to drastically like not mess with pH as much as iron 3.
yeah, because iron 3 is a non-reduced state. So
Yeah. I'll have to send you a sample.
Yes,
Not of
yeah.
not of my water, but let me. I don't know. I don't know if I can show you this. Let me. I
I
have
knew this day was coming.
rocks
I
growing.
knew this day was coming, and I don't want to say I knew it was coming from a very long time away, but usually when people find out I know rocks, they're like, I have a rock. Can
No, no,
you
no.
kind of
I have
tell
a
me about
rock
it?
growing. Okay, here. Let me see. Let me see what we can do. So you see on. Oh, hey, there's a little pea puffer. Hello.
Hi, baby.
There's rocks growing on my heater.
I can't see it very well, but I believe you.
There's a good. You see the orangish chunk there?
Yeah.
It's like growing on the filter. It's really weird. I'll have to
Yeah,
get a
you're
better
gonna need
picture.
to send
Send
me a
you a
photo
sample.
of that.
Here.
Yeah.
With all the algae and everything.
Oh,
And my
beautiful.
pajamas.
Well, I won't be able to see it anyway. Actually, hang on.
Here, let me just like screen share it or something.
No, it's okay. I'm pulling up my Google Messenger right now. Pretty sure I can still access Messenger well.
Oh, I was just gonna screen share it so everybody could see it.
Yeah, screen share it. Do it.
I just have to like put it somewhere I can get it on my computer. Okay, here we go. Oh, yep, I forgot to mute my phone. We're having a day today, man. I tell you what.
If it makes you feel any better, I have literally been doing nothing all day except for editing that freaking video down. And
Dude.
There's only so much you can hear of yourself too, which is
Right.
frustrating. It's like because usually I'll take multiple takes because I know I'm stupid, right? I'll say something stupid and I want to.
So you can kind of see it a little bit better. Yeah, I scraped off some of the algae because it was getting pretty bad. But you see, like the orange rock on there. It's just like growing on my filters. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it looks like a rock of some sort.
That looks like it's a fungal infection, sir, or a fungus.
That is too hard to be a fungus.
Okay, well then, it's a coral. You have a saltwater tank.
Since when? My guess is probably an iron oxide.
Odds are, though, that would never come out of solution. Not in our atmosphere.
Right.
If
but
anything,
that's because it's like right up against the heater.
Well, yeah,
that's my only guess.
Okay. I'll have to. So one of the things I go into detail of in my video is how TDS lies, and you can't just use TDS to just be the say all end all. But it's not like there's a better option, right? You could use TDS plus some chemical like testing, but a lot of people don't have the chemical testing that a lab would have, like cation or anion separators. Those things are awesome because it tells you exactly how much you have of every chemical species.
Probably really expensive too.
Yeah, it's like $11,000. But like the issue again, it's what people can use, and they can't use that. There is a place that you can buy individual tests to get sent out for.
Well, I guess I could always, because it's called ferrous metal for a reason. Iron oxide is still magnetic, right?
Slightly. It's as it's oxidized, it loses its magnetic state.
Right. Oh, okay, that makes sense because you're not magnetic because you have a lot of sodium and stuff inside you and other
Well, it's not even
fun metals.
that. Sulfides have an extra electron layer that allows them to accept or remove electronegativity a lot easier, which makes them more magnetic. So,
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, chemistry is whack, but I'll have to send you a sample of my rocks.
Yeah,
growing on my because I have some, not to the same extent, but in that tank too. But that's just my oldest heater, so it makes sense that it's growing on there.
Interesting. Sorry, I'm making sure nobody is trying to reach us in the chat after that. I don't want to say I have PTSD, but after that one time, I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't
We missed someone.
We missed you.
But yeah, it's interesting, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck it is, because I doubt it would be, because I would think it would be like some ionic compound just coming out of solution on the heater.
Your concentration's not high enough, though. And I don't want to say that like bet, but like I'm pretty sure your concentration isn't high enough. Like, here, put it in perspective. Where are you? There you are. I have lots of rocks, by the way. I don't know if you have lots of rocks, but
I do. Yeah. I do. I have a box somewhere.
I have a requirement for it, mostly because when I started college, I was an earth science major. Earth science ed major. And like your checkout, like your final semester, not only do you do your practicum, but you have to like categorize and librarytize your entire rock collection to use in a classroom.
That's amazing. So we know you have a rock collection, but you also have to categorize it.
That's why I left. I was like, nope, I'm out. Actually, I said nope, I'm out because they didn't have any grad programs that were non-education based. So this is a piece of alum. It's made out of alum powder. It's what you would normally use in a kitchen. This took 100 and something odd days for me to grow. And the saturation to do that was over 180%.
Well, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you put something like silver tied to a nitrate in water, because nitrate is always soluble, but silver is not unless it's tied to nitrate. And then it finds some other ion, it's going to grab it and come out of solution, isn't it?
Yeah, but where is your silver coming from, sir?
It's not silver, I don't think.
Okay, but
but I would assume that there would be ferrous compounds that would do that too.
Probably.
That's why I want to say it's iron of some sort, because I live in an old house, old place. Might even be copper or zinc or something, but it would be more green if it was copper.
Does it smell? And I know that sounds weird, but if you take it off and scratch it and smell it, if it smells like zinc or sulfur, it's zinc based.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go fish some out right now.
Yeah. Fun fact for all those watching: one of the best ways to determine whether something contains zinc sulfides is by scratching and sniffing. I know that sounds weird, but that's what it is. Is Remo here? No.
So just like scratch and sniff like a sticker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see if I have it big enough, because it's kind of brownish, flaky.
It's kind of interesting.
My sense of smell isn't good anyway. No, I've smelled that. Yeah, it does kind of smell sulfurish.
So it's probably has to do with zinc or other type of sulfide. But
That makes sense.
yeah. Fun fact though, oddly enough, I have put sulfur in an aquarium before, and it does not leach basically at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess.
Smells, but it doesn't leak.
My guess is it's probably like a sulfur compound from the anaerobic bacteria or something and breaking down
Yeah, probably. That would
stuff.
make sense to me. Don't
So it
put
might be
sulfur
like
in your aquarium, please.
not on
Don't do
purpose.
that. No, don't do it on purpose unless you're an actual trained professional.
And even then, sulfates will turn into sulfur.
Eventually, as they
Mhm.
break down, yes.
So
Yep.
don't put just a bunch of Epsom salt into your tank.
You could.
You could.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No. There's better ways to raise your GH if you need to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Epsom salt is great though for helping a fish that's constipated.
That's true. But I can't remember what we were going to say. Anyway, going on. We were talking about, and I think this is kind of what I covered in my video that you guys are all going to see on Monday, to those that are watching. But TDS, do you know how they lie to you, Edison?
The TDS?
TDS.
Well, because anything that's not water is a TDS.
Yeah. So I got into this week, and I never thought I'd ever do this. Got into this week the science of TDS meters and how they work.
Is it basically just conductivity?
No, kind of. It's light and conductivity.
Oh, okay.
So they shoot a beam of light to bounce off of something, and the more it bounces, the greater the TDS is.
So
The issue with that is that in crystals, light bounces everywhere, and minerals are all crystals, which means you can have a lot of TDS and not really know what they are.
right, and TDS is indiscriminate too. It's just anything that's not water.
Yeah. So
So it could be, it could be calcium, it could be nitrate, it could be.
Did you know, and I didn't know this until I was researching for it, but you could get beryllium carbonate? Because beryllium is a +2 cation, and so you can get beryllium carbonate.
Interesting.
Yeah. I feel bad for whoever comes across that one, but
lick it.
No. Don't do that. Or also don't surround it with 6 other pieces of lead sulfides.
Yeah.
Or 9 pieces of lead sulfides.
There was a whole thing, and don't use the screwdriver.
Yeah, don't use a screwdriver to lift it up or do any type of experimentation on it, because that's not a smart idea at all.
We've already had 2 incidences with that, I think.
I only know the one, but I don't really want to know of the other ones. So
I think it was the same thing. I think it was the demon core thing.
Yeah, that's what
Not once, but twice.
Yeah. There are also, because I researched this, I didn't really talk about it in my video though, but there are forms of aluminum that are actually insoluble in water. And the reason why is because there's a mineral called bauxite, which used to be extremely sedimentary kind of rocks, and aluminum would just be like the leftover matter of that rock.
Hmm.
Well, in the rainforest where it rains a whole heck of a ton, it all gets weathered out, and so you just have this giant goop of aluminum, and that does nothing to water whatsoever, which is cool.
Isn't aluminum slightly acidic on the pH scale? Not as much as say like hydrogen ion, but
No, but I think also aluminum at that point, in that stage, if it's been extremely weathered, like bauxite has been, it's probably not going
it's
to
just
shed
in
its
there. Yeah.
valence shells. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anywho, yeah,
Interesting.
all of that and more coming up on Monday, I'm hoping. It went really well, the first one. And also, if your wife is nearby, Edison's wife has provided the voiceovers for the last two um, Living Things of the Day. And everybody loves pea puffers. And so I think we're going to need to do some more pea puffers. Have you given your pea puffers names, sir?
Yeah, we've got I have like 3 of them of the 6 that I can like distinctly identify. Cuz one's little and she's got I think it's actually because they've been a runt forever, but now it's like starting to be looking more like a male to me. But anyway, his name's Spaz because it's got
Great.
ADHD.
Yeah.
And then we have like Spotty because he's got like a lot of different little spots on top of his splotches. So he's still like a pea puffer, not like the imitator, but just really spotty. It's interesting. And then we have Meatball.
It's a great group of names there.
Yeah.
So
Meatball is actually featured a lot in the Pea Puffer video.
I can tell. He seems like a meatball.
Right. That's why I'm like, he's Meatball.
No, yeah, I think everybody loves pea puffers, and to be fully honest, when I saw the video, I was like, I want them now. I want pea puffers.
They're fun. They really are fun.
I can't never do it because I have. So this tank up here, I'm gonna downsize it drastically to be a 6 gallon because I don't want to say I don't want a tank up here anymore, but if I have all of my tanks downstairs, it's easier to take care of them all in one place.
Right.
And the issue is that if I put a pea puffer in here, it wipes out all of like 1,000 shrimp and like well over 12 years worth of like breeding. And like my first ever Nerite snail that I ever bought as an aquarist for my beta tank back in 2019 was in that tank. Tank. So
Nerites, depending on the pea puffers, and if you have an adequate shoal, they're actually not as aggressive to a lot of different things. And if you feed them properly, then a lot of the times they don't really care about Nerites just because they're too big to even bother with.
I do have a whole colony of Malaysians though too.
Yeah,
they will
eat those.
I know. I have some adult Malaysians too. Like they're about yay big now.
Oh man.
And I'm just looking over right now too because I unfortunately when I'm up here I'm either editing on my computer or like I'm playing games or whatever. But like when I'm looking at it right now, I could see a lot of my full-grown shrimp. The Neocadarias are like yay big. They're massive.
I didn't think they got that big.
They're pretty big. I mean, it's funny what happens when you get rid of all of their predation.
Right. Put a pea puffer in there, that'll change.
Yeah.
But don't just put one pea puffer because they need a shoal.
I know.
Or else I will come to Rexburg and smack you.
Bet you won't.
Bet
you won't. Okay.
I'll just like ship you a bunch of pea puffers.
Do that, yeah. Yeah, just show up one day and be like, hey,
Pea puffers.
Pea puffers. I had two different science articles that I wanted to talk about, but I'm just going to save them for next week.
Okay.
Just
Good
because
stuff.
Kyle's not here and they're about saltwater things, which is the most bland thing I think Kyle could ever deal with, and I'm going to have him read both of them.
But the good news is they're not like depressing, but they're also
no. They're just like, it's different, right? So someone found out that clownfish mucus changes during the life cycle of a sea anemone, and there's a new breed or genera of something like a triggerfish or something. I can't remember.
No, it's an angelfish that's a cross genera.
Oh yeah, there you
which the first, if I'm not mistaken, first genera crossbreed.
Yeah. Yep. So I figured right now we can just go straight into we're probably going to skip question 2 because it's in plants general and Kyle's not here to back us up or also to stop us. But
basically,
first question that we got from someone, how do you identify a trustworthy fish store? What things do you look for in your local fish store? Kyle, because I only have one LFS and it's 100 miles away from me. So you can go first, sir.
So basically, I want you to imagine walking into PetSmart. As terrible as it is, imagine walking into PetSmart and looking at the fish tanks. What do you see?
Lots of really unhappy dead fish and clearance items, and people who obviously have no business owning African dwarf frogs, but do anyway.
Right. Basically, anything that's not that is a good LFS. Because, fish... Let's be honest. Tropical.
There goes our PetSmart sponsorship, man. That's the thing that broke the camel back for PetSmart for us.
Right.
Not anything else we've already said.
No. Okay. Sorry. Petco too. I'll bash on Petco too.
That's fine.
Although I've noticed Petco's being a lot better than PetSmart's.
Petco is being a huge lot better than PetSmart's as of late. Just saying.
Yeah. Anyway. One thing about tropical fish and saltwater to an extent too, because I don't have as much experience with saltwater, but saltwater fish, freshwater fish, tropical fish, they are quite colorful when they're happy.
Mm-hmm.
And
they are not quite colorful if they are unhappy.
Right. If I walk up to that tank right now, my big community tank, if I walk up there, they swarm. They will follow me.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're happy.
Because they're happy. They know they're going to get food. They know no fear. I had to retrieve a dead fish because it was big enough that it was going to like probably mess with my ecosystem a little bit. But so I was trying to remove a dead fish, and I could not separate the dead fish from the live fish that kept swimming in the net.
Please take us with you.
Like these are rainbow fish, highly active fish that would swim away from a net normally.
Yeah.
But and the longer you keep fish, the easier it is to tell how well they're doing. But
sure.
easiest method is to see, are there dead fish in the tanks? And if it's like a shipment day or the day after a shipment day, you can forgive it a little bit. But are there dead or dying fish in the tank?
Yeah.
Are the fish diseased? You can see things like ick, camelina worms, other sorts of, like dwarf gourami disease, things like that, that you definitely don't want in your home aquarium.
It's true. And I'd also, alongside that, if they're colorful too. And I don't want to say like the non-colorful fish are things that we don't adopt here. That's not something we do, but
well, even things like pea puffers, which aren't known for their brilliant colors, will still get lighter when they're stressed.
Yeah.
Most fish will just go pale when they're stressed. Most tropical fish, at least.
Edison.
Oh, that
no.
Did I stop?
Well, he'll be back soon.
What happened?
I hope. He's back.
I'm back. Okay. I'm on the wrong Wi-Fi, but if I switch it now, it's gonna take everything down.
Okay, so don't do that.
No. But anyway, yes, even like the little gray fish, like zebra danios, still get pale when they're stressed. But you can also tell, like, beta fish are a good example of like they have their fins splayed out when they're happy. When they're not, they kind of droop, and everything kind of all together, right? But you can see that on other fish with their fins, just
Yeah,
not as exaggerated. But definitely the quality of the livestock, if you will, because it's alive, and if they're not taking care of them, you can notice very easily.
yeah, that's definitely true. I we have a local a Petco here in Idaho Falls. So I say that I don't have an LFS because it's not a mom and pop store, right? It's corporate owned. But one of the things that I think is incredible, and Chance, if he's listening, I don't know if he ever will, but Chance, he's the head aquarist at Petco here in town, and he got sick and tired of not having an Eastern Idaho like aquarium community. And so he actually got Petco corporate approval to not only create but make a Facebook group just dedicated to fish stuff here in East Idaho. And it's not even like it's not sponsored by Petco. They don't try to get money out of it. They literally just sit on there during their free time and give advice. And I think for me, right, that's something that not a lot of people will see, right? So we're not really judging them based off of their fish, but that shows a lot of character in not only the store but also just a corporation that's willing to
Let that happen.
yeah, they're willing to reach out and facilitate that. Our PetSmart, though, on the other hand, is abysmal, and it has been for many, many years. The issue is that they get someone in there that is passionate about fish, and then they leave because it's a college town, right? And so it's hard to keep people here for a job that only pays $14 an hour. That's just the nature of the reality that we live in now. So, but I think everything that you said thus far, kind of going along with that, if they have quarantine tanks. So I like it when pet stores have quarantine tanks because it shows that they care about the future of the fish and not just the individual. This is it right now, right? So
Yeah. My LFS, what they do, shout out to Fish for You. Really great little store. But they have all of their tanks on separate filtration systems. There is no crossover. They bleach all the nets in between uses. They,
it's awesome.
they make all the employees wash their hands after putting, getting in one tank or another.
Yeah,
It
that's
seems
great.
it seems a little crazy, but it works, and it keeps the fish healthy. They will
Yeah.
quarantine whole tanks if something comes up, like if ick happens. Like I've even pointed out, like, hey, your fish has ick again, and they're like, again, and so they'll quarantine it right in front of me, and just I'll see it quarantined for 2 weeks until they can get it under control.
Yeah, that's great. A lot of I mean, obviously corporate stuff you can't really do a lot of those kinds of things because of the size, but um I'd like to imagine some of them try, you know.
Yeah. And another thing is you can actually tell a good LFS by the employees.
If they know what they're doing.
If
Yeah.
they know what they're doing, you could even ask for recommendations, or like, hey, if I have this 20-gallon tank, what can I put in it? And if they tell you like a goldfish, no,
Yeah, it's true. So what you're saying is now do you just go be the jackass every single time you go to a fish store and like quiz them instead of asking for solid advice or
Well,
actual questions, just waste their time.
if you keep it, but yes and no. I like to go. I like to go to the LFS and just talk to them. They're fun to talk to because
Oh yeah.
they're also fish keepers. You know, um, and if you get talking to them and they have like fish tanks at home, and you're like, well, how long has that tank been running? They're like, oh, 20 plus years. You're like, holy crap. They might know a thing or two, but
Just a little bit.
just a little bit. And they're like, so you can also kind of tell with the employees how well they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I could never do retail ever again. I hate people too much.
Yeah, and then I want to be a doctor and work with people. So
I mean, no,
it's like the retail, but like
don't get me wrong. Like I still talk to people. I tolerate people, but I worked for Best Buy for 9 years. There's nothing
I'm sorry.
there's nothing I can do in this life that will allow me to forget that. So,
Dude, today I was about to snap over some Diet Coke, man. It was a problem.
yeah, I feel you. So yeah, to kind of summarize that, local fish store, just to be honest, talk to them and get to know them. First off, second off, you can tell their quality based off of the way the fish are living their lives.
Right. Fish are easy, especially the longer you've kept fish. Fish are easy tells on how well the fish are doing.
Yeah.
And if the fish are doing well, it's a good LFS. They're treating the fish right. They respect the life of the fish and that they are living things. And even they my LFS has saltwater tanks that I see the same fish in there every now and then when I go in there because not as many people keep saltwater, but they have saltwater fish. And they even have some not for sale tanks, and those fish are healthy and those fish are happy. And I would assume that they're maintaining the same level of care on those fish as they are the fish for sale.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're going to skip question 3 too, because I want Kyle to be there for that question. So,
right. Especially since, that gets into plants anyway.
well, no, the question 2 was plants, but question 3 was what are some reliable, cheap products?
Right.
And
that can get into plants a lot.
Yeah. The person that I would trust to tell me what the cheapest product on the market is to do a certain thing would be Kyle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think when push comes to shove, though, yeah, that's about it. Honestly, I can't really say any more about it. Okay, so today's big discussion question, and hopefully we'll get out of here on time today instead of an hour from now. But today's big discussion stems from someone asking the question, would you keep a cuttlefish or would you keep a nautiloid? And the question is, what is the hardest tank to keep and why? So I already answered first. Anything that is a cuttlefish, a nautiloid, or an octopus is the hardest tank you could probably keep in your life.
Cephalopods.
Any cephalopod, basically. And the reason why, and it's not even any like one reason, it's a accumulation of all of the reasons. So for instance, octopus and cuttlefish are extremely aggressive tank mates. You can't keep them with anything ever. Or else those things go bye-bye. On top of that, nautiloids require extremely consistent temperatures in the 60s to 50 degree range, which means that you have to have a chiller, which is horrible. And then they only eat live food, all 3 of those. They only eat crabs, which means you have an expensive trip every single month you have to take. you have to have a place to put those crabs, and then but besides that, octopus and cuttlefish and nautiloids have one of the biggest issues out of any aquarium fish or aquarium organism that you can keep, and that is you will be buying one every 1.5 years, because that is the lifespan of a cuttlefish, a nautiloid, or an octopus. And it sucks because they are freaking expensive.
Well,
Cuttlefish eggs are like $180 a pair.
holy. Anyway, yeah, but no, and that's it. They're freaking expensive. They live a year and a half, and they're a pain in the butt to take care of.
Yeah, and it's just not. It doesn't seem like there's a huge payout. I mean, obviously for octopi, right? There's a lot of people that use them for intelligence stuff and training, but outside of that, there's nothing.
Unless you're the aquarium, basically.
Yeah. It's and they used to keep cuttlefish at the aquarium down in Idaho Falls when I worked. Not when I worked there, about 2 years prior to me working there, and it got so expensive just because people don't want to go see a cuttlefish, right? They want to go see sharks, but it's cool to see a cuttlefish every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But they're impossible to get in, and even if you buy the eggs, there's no guarantee they're going to hatch. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
I was pretty impressed because the other day I was at the aquarium. I hadn't noticed the cuttlefish before, and I was pretty excited about them. There was they had them with the like pencilfish. No, not pencilfish. The ones that like kind of have the same face as seahorse, but they're like straight up and down, and they like
yeah, I know which ones you're talking about. I just can't remember the name of them right now.
Razorfish or something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
they had the cuttlefish in there with them, and the cuttlefish were just kind of hanging out.
That's nice. My favorite tank in that aquarium is the mantis shrimp tank, because the way that they designed it is it has like a tube up against like the glass, and the glass is somewhat tinted by the tube, so you can still see him, but he can't see you, so you can actually see him do stuff.
So he's kind of hanging out. And,
yeah.
No, that mantis shrimp one is pretty cool.
Anyway, so those are my hardest tanks. I don't think I would ever willingly recommend anybody getting them, or even getting them myself. One day, eventually, if I had someone to take care of it for me, I would get an octopus tank. But that's it. That's So what is the hardest tank to take care of, Edison? And why?
My opinion, it depends on what kind of quality of care you got. You know what I mean? And whatnot. If you want to, you can. It's kind of like keeping a bonsai tree. Yes, it can be easy, but you can also, with the same tree, just go nuts. You know what I mean?
And just be a stupid person. Yeah,
Mhm.
and not trim back your roots. Yeah.
But like for example, you can spend hours upon hours each week just trimming the plants, replanting the plants,
So Monte
vacuuming.
Carlo, people that do Monte Carlo in their tanks, are we attacking them right now?
Yes, or any carpeting plants, you have to trim those like all the time because they do get big. You have vacuuming the substrate, doing all these, cleaning all the algae, every single speck off the glass. You can go ham on a tank. You know what I mean? But really, I guess the hardest tank to maintain is your first tank.
Philosophical approach. I like it. I can foresee it coming. So yeah, I'd agree with that too, because that one, I feel like you're going to have more mistakes than ever, right? And
right. and it comes from either one direction or the other. You're either going to over maintain it and stress yourself out, and it's just going to be like, right, because if you get rid of all the algae in a tank, even though algae kind of thrive on imbalance, they also kind of help in some way to balance out the
Yeah,
imbalance. That's what they do.
they have a
But
buffeting capacity to that.
yes. And so you're either going to over maintain it, kill all the algae, and just stress yourself out because you're doing 50% water changes every other day or something. You know what I mean? Like, just overboard. Or you're not doing enough maintenance where you don't do a water change in a non-planted tank, and it you get old tank syndrome really quick, and things like that. And so it's kind of this give and take where you have
Yeah.
to find the right spot, but it's hard for a beginner because they don't know what they're doing, and so they've either over researched or under researched.
Yeah, I do. I still stand by though, and I'm pretty sure there are people who will beat me for this. But if you are a new fish keeper, you are overfeeding your fish. I promise you, you are. And it's something that I didn't know until like it was too late, and I don't think a lot of people realize it too. So, I
Oh,
don't
I know I'm overfeeding my fish, but I have
know.
methods to take care of it. That's the
You have a reason for it too. So
yeah. There's a reason for it, and then the again, I probably still don't like crazy overfeed them because I give them enough food for like a day, or and
mhm.
then maybe get depressed and skip a day here and there. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I only feed them once a day. You don't need to feed them like 5 times a day. What they can consume in 5 minutes, that's going to cause a lot of constipation really quick.
Yeah, and obviously that's a little off topic, but I feel like it's something that everybody I feel like needs to experience firsthand for themselves to figure out that it's not the right way to do it. But um, there was someone who at the aquarium, they were like, we have to start feeding our animals right, and I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it. And like that would include feeding things like our trout and sturgeon their food that they normally would, like goldfish and everything. And I don't want to say they weren't happy, but they weren't as active because they were fat, and but there's times that underfeeding is okay, and there's times that overfeeding is not okay, and usually in your home aquarium you overfeed. So
Right. And it, especially in like a smaller tank, too many nutrients are going to build up really quick.
yeah, and that's one of the more catastrophic things that can happen in small tanks too, that a lot of people don't really take into consideration.
Right. If you
But
overfeed it, you're going to really throw your aquarium out of whack. It wasn't until I really fully realized I don't know how I realized this and how I didn't realize this in the beginning, because I'd taken care of snakes for a long time before, like for a year or two before I got into aquariums. And it wasn't until I realized that fish are cold-blooded animals that I realized, oh yeah, that's why they don't need a whole lot of food. They don't need
they
to
say
do the
they conserve energy, they don't waste it.
right. They aren't having to do the same metabolic processes that, like, say, a land dwelling mammal would have to do to keep warm. They're just thriving off the heater right there.
Yeah. Speaking of land dwelling animals, I have been requested, because I now do technically work for a zoo. Um, I am going to start taking photos of friend shaped things that are not allowed to be friends. So,
Do a video of friend shaped things that you shouldn't touch, like the
yeah.
bears or something,
Well, they have snow leopards at the zoo, and they've trained them how to carry their tails uh, in and out of doors, so that way their tails don't get caught. And so like they'll just like whip their tail around and stick it in their mouth and just trot away, going all their way. And I'm just like, I want to pet you. You are a kitty. I want you to just be my friend forever.
So yeah, you're gonna have to like do a TikTok or something on that one.
Yeah.
Like, Things that I want to pet at my job that I can't.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to because they will definitely bite back. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating because there's so many cats there. They have like 12 and they're all like, I don't want to say they're all chonky, but like they're bred, and the way that the specific ones at this zoo are, they are all like maximum chonkiness. And I want them all.
All the cats.
All the cats. But anyway.
You're gonna be the crazy cat lady that's actually insane and has like a leopard.
Don't tempt me. You have no idea how many times people show me things like on TikTok or like Facebook or whatever of someone running into a leopard kitten or a panther kitten, and I'm sitting there like, I want this to be me, please. Can I has a panther kitty, please? I will raise like own, and then it will be mine.
My child.
My child. But anyway, that's besides the point. What I am curious, because I didn't stream this week or last week or the week before, and I feel bad for that because I'm still working on my zoology perspective point of view of Palworld. Edison, are you going to be here on Tuesday?
Tuesday. What's on Tuesday?
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. I think I am working from 6 to 11 because odd hours.
For shame, sir. For shame.
If it was Monday or Wednesday,
we might be able to do it Wednesday. I'd be okay with Wednesday.
Wednesday might be a little sticky though.
Anyway, I found out that RetroArch, you can do 2-player games over the internet, and I want to play Echo the Dolphin, and I want someone else to play it with me so I'm not bored.
Oh boy.
Lots of Sega fans are trying to yell at me right now, and I'm not going to listen to them, but
there you go.
Anyway, I think next week though, I want to do that, so I will probably stream it if
I could probably make it at 8 on Wednesday if we said 8.
Okay. Yeah, we could probably do that. I'd have to research how to get it done and get it working, but yeah. And then I guess in closing, because we miss Kyle today and we need him to answer more of our questions about the things that we wanted to talk about. Next week, yeah, that's about it. Honestly, there's really nothing else happening. I don't want to say like we're boring people, but I've spent 8 hours today editing down a video, and then I'm going to spend another 6 hours tomorrow editing down the Palworld review, and hopefully get everything posted and ready to go. And also, there was someone who did comment, not in chat at all, but this was previously. My thumbnail was apparently the most clickbait thumbnail that has ever clickbaited. And they said that it wasn't nearly the hype up to the actual video. And I just have to say, because the video was an intro. So
I never actually saw the thumbnail. I just saw the video.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
I feel so. You have to pull it up now. No. No. You need you know what you have done. You know what you did. Jeez, one of 3 people working on a channel, not even knowing what the channel is.
Dude, do you want to know what I've been working on this week?
Death. Lots of it.
Something like that. No, here. Why does it not exist? What do you mean it doesn't exist?
Oh, please tell me your water video is just gone now.
No, I haven't even been able to work on that, unfortunately. Oh, I did see that thumbnail, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. You're I'd be totally content with you just making TikToks, by the way. I do not, because you are a busy man and I am not. So
Okay, so you know what I had to work on this week? It's for my I don't know why I took this class, but I took a class on human sexuality because why not? Anyway, had to write a whole essay about human sexuality across the lifespan, and how it tied into mental health. And it was like an 8-page paper, like with all the citations and everything. I had to get like TikTok videos to cite. I had to like do interviews to cite. It was a monster, but I got a half-baked rough draft done.
I'm gonna say it, and I just need a quick answer. Why the heck did you do this to yourself by taking that class?
Well, okay, so
I can
here's the thing.
understand. Okay, I can understand why, psychology wise of it, right? It's important, but it sounds like hell.
I thought it was going to be more science-based. I'm too used to my psychology classes. I've been spoiled, and you know, I guess I didn't really realize what human sexuality would encompass.
So wait. So what you're telling me is that you go to class and you sit in a semicircle and sing "Kumbaya" instead of talking
No,
about
it's all
science.
online. It's just a bunch of discussions about gender theory. Unfortunately,
Oh,
I don't mind gender theory, but it's like I didn't want to take a class on that.
I'm surprised that they offered that class. Okay. Spoiler: Edison lives in Utah, which Utah has the highest current. I don't want to say body count. That sounds evil and
I
just
like
really
body
messed
count.
up. Has the highest body count for transgender suicides, and it's by no fault of any one entity alone. I don't want them coming after me in case they see this.
Here's the thing: it's not. It's an interesting dichotomy. Okay, a lot of people want to say, "Oh, it's the church." It's not the church. It's the people in the church that take it too far.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the thing is, the human sexuality class is great because it's at the U of U, not BYU. I'm not at BYU. My little brother's at BYU, down with all the Provo people.
Bet you make him feel so good about that too.
Oh, I roast him daily. But you know, don't get me wrong, Provo's great. There's a lot of great people, but most of the hate for, you know,
yeah.
LGBTQ peoples is from that stereotype. And unfortunately, Utah Valley is the worst of it.
Yeah, and it's I was just talking. I don't want to say anything political.
I've probably already crossed that line.
Well, I was me and Naomi were talking about this like 2 days ago, and I was like, I don't think I could ever live in Florida now for a number of reasons, but one of them being their stance on like on trans rights and I'm not trying to say like I'm against trans people or for trans people in any way, shape, or form. It's just I'm for people having rights to do whatever they want, because I don't want to say that's kind of why we're here, but it's kind of why we're here. And I hate the fact that if I wanted to do something, I couldn't do it because someone was stopping me, or you know what I mean, right? And so to have states now in this country where you can't, right, like you physically are no longer able to do things that you should be allowed to do is frustrating to me. But I don't know. To each its own. Obviously, I don't want to live in a lawless wasteland, but I also am a realist too, right? I understand that there needs to be checks and balances, but there also needs to be people who just need to F off and tell me not to do things.
You know, and I was actually talking to my wife about this. Here's my psychology hack for the week. Nothing, things. A healthy dose of nihilism goes a long way in life. If people just didn't make a big deal about a lot of things, we'd be a lot happier. Not everything has to have meaning. Sometimes I just sit in front of my fish tank aimlessly staring at my fish.
Perfect.
Doesn't have to have any meaning.
So one of the smartest things I think I've ever heard in my life was a professor at BYU, Idaho. His name is Stephen O'Shaughnessy. Okay, he's a math teacher. He's also back crap crazy. So just, take it with a grain of salt. But he did say something. He said, why would an elected official actively try to say that they're for or against a policy when it's never going to happen anyway? They have no power to do that. They're one part of a cog that could enact a policy. They don't have any power to actually enact a policy outright. And I'm just thinking to myself, that's smart. Just be a politician that doesn't care. It's like amazing.
Well, there's a lot of psychological things about why that wouldn't work, just because of how far group polarization has become. Where
don't remind me. Don't move to America. Anybody who's actually, I doubt anybody who's international will be listening to this right now. But if you are international right now, please don't come here. We hate it here. Talk about like Stalin and just different types of dictators. We literally vote for the same two dictators every single time.
Literally the definition of stuck between a rock and a hard place,
It's true.
But we have our fish, and that's the good thing.
Yeah. And I guess on a positive note, this isn't to go for any candidacy, but it is nice to see more environmentally friendlier candidates trying to pop themselves up and out of obscurity this next running race. But anywho, I guess that's it for this week, Edison, unless you have anything else that you wanted to add to this.
Haven't had time to work on my filter yet, but we're coming along. It's almost there. I just need a little bit more silicon, and I got a first prototype done.
I'm excited.
But it'll be interesting.
It will be the most harsh grader for that. I will be.
You should. I want to know everything about it. I might have to send you a second prototype because
you only have the one. Yeah.
Well, so I have enough materials for 4 prototypes, but some of the materials won't fit, so I had to get other materials. So the prototypes are just a proof of concept, not really a final product.
Yes. It doesn't mean that I won't be critical of your engineering work.
Oh, you should. You should be. My duct tape chewing gum engineering work. It holds water, at least.
I hate to say it, but most engineers, that's how they do their lives anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've done low voltage electrical work. I know how that works.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess until next week, everybody. I am Chris.
I'm Edison.
And thanks for watching Tanks and Thanks today.
We love you.
Bye.